My story can never be told. I write all I know of it, and then I throw the pages to the wind. My mother lives on human blood and has done for 2 centuries.
There is a code that we survive by, Eleanor. Keep it.
Eleanor's written a story. In her story, she says that she lives with vampires. She is an aberration.
We are a brotherhood. There are no women amongst us.
We should not permit her to survive.
Close your eyes.
There comes a time in life when secrets should be told. You've got secrets, haven't you?
I am 16 forever. I walk, and the past walks with me.
I followed you for many years.
We have to leave.
I don't want to lie anymore. I've told you how I live.
I'm never merciful. And knowledge is a fatal thing.
If you kiss me right now, will I live forever?
You've told your little boyfriend all about us, haven't you? No!
Forgive me for what I must do.
Only those prepared to die will find eternal life. They'll destroy you, Ella! This is the end.
Of what?
Of time.
There we go. I'm muted, of course. And I forgot to get my microphone ready. Hope you can hear me. Welcome, Grace is here already. Look, it's no vampires, but it looks good. It is good. It's an amazing film. I've just this minute finished watching it, which is why I'm running a little bit late. Only a minute or two. But it is an amazing film. And what we're talking about... Hang on. Did you apply a filter to the sound, or is that in the trailer? It's probably StreamYard. Sometimes StreamYards makes it sound a bit squishy, doesn't it? I can't do anything about that. Yes, I remember to shave. I had a shave, so I'm trimmed in a hirsute fashion, not trimmed as in figure. I'm a fat get. Anyway, welcome to Friday Night Appointment with Fear. This week we're doing Byzantium. As I've said, it's an amazing film. I've just finished watching it, just literally a minute ago. Well, just before I went on, just got it in. And thank you, Joshua. And I put my coat because I'm cold. And I can't put the fire up because the cat is lying on top of the fire. And if I put it up, she'll get too hot. So put my coat on, my jacket, should I say? What was I saying? Byzantium. Yeah, it's an amazing film directed by Neil Jordan, starring Gemma Arterton, Saoirse Ronan, Daniel Mays, and many others. Hang on, I've got to check. I can't really remember. Where are we? Starring. Where is it? Johnny Lee Miller, Sam Riley, and Caleb Landry Jones. Where the hell is he from? Oh, he's American, right? I thought he was Irish. He sounds Irish in this film. He's American. And Tom Hollander appears in it as well, in an interesting role. But and also Kate Ashfield, who you may know from Shaun of the Dead. As I said, directed by Neil Jordan, who also brought us The Company of Wolves and the other vampire one, Interview with the Vampire, and I think he did The Crying Game, didn't he? Let's say an amazing director. It was produced by people I've never heard of. Stephen Woolley, I've heard of him. I think he did Interview with the Vampire, didn't he? I think. And it was the screenplay was written by Moira Buffini, based on her stage play, A Vampire Story. And it had a budget of €8 million, and it didn't do very well at the box office, but who cares? It's an amazing film. Right. Hey, Joshua says, I love Johnny Lee Miller ever since Plunkett and McLean. To be honest, I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. I probably have. But I don't know. I don't know. I probably have, but he's not an actor that sticks out to me. Right, so let's get on with the film. Oh, before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe. Where are we? There we go. Like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell. If you're subscribed already, we're live on YouTube. Let's just make sure we are still going. Yep. Go on, catch up. I hate it when it does that. And we're live on Rumble and we're live on Twitch. Yay! It's all working this week. He was in Hackers. Oh, Hackers and Elementary. I think I've seen Hackers. Oh yeah, Elementary is that series, isn't it, with Lucy Liu? It's like a Sherlock Holmes thing, isn't it? No, I've not seen it, but I know of it. Anyway, right. So let's get on with the film, shall we? Let's just get on with it. Let me mute that first. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so off we go. Make myself titchy tiny. By the way, this film is so good, I'd know for a fact I'm not going to do it justice. I'm not going to do it justice. It's that good, but I'll go through it as best I can. I don't know a great deal about the behind the scenes, apart from like where it was filmed, and that's about it. And a couple of other little nuggets. The Blu-ray. Where are we? There we go. The Blu-ray is like bereft of extras. All the extras are just got some interviews, which don't really tell us a lot. A little bit, but not a lot. And like a Q&A with the cast, but you can't really hear them anyway because it's terrible audio. So anyway, it was also in Dark Shadows, was it? Oh, I like that. The I presume in the Tim Burton version of the TV series, with Johnny Depp as I forgot the name. There's a vampire fella. Another vampire film. I quite like that. But as I say, I've probably seen him in lots of things, but he's never stuck out to me. Despite his memorable name. Anyway, so off we go. Like, it's nice to see that they get all the company logos in on one screen instead of like having 80 million of them one after another. Roger? I thought is that what they called him in the film? I can't remember. But in the series, he was Barnabas, wasn't he? Did they call him Roger in the film? I can't remember. It's a while since I've seen it. We're in Dracula 2000 as well with Jerry Ryan. We're in that, aren't you? Right. So off we go. Is it playing? Just make sure. Yes, it's gone off now. Right. So we begin. I'm not sure where it's supposed to be set, this film, by the way. The original story was set in Ireland because it was written by an Irish lady. All right, Depp was Barnabas, Johnny was Roger. All right. Oh, actually, the Collins family, innit? They own the house, innit? I always forget that. I just think of Barnabas Collins, because he's the like most notable character in the film. But anyway. Where were we? Oh, yes. Oh, I don't know where it's supposed to be set. I think it's in England. But the original story was set in Ireland, but parts of it seem to take place in Ireland. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's baffling. Some of it were filmed in Ireland. Notably, what's its face? Skellig. Is it Skellig Michael Island, where the end of The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Force Awakens, was filmed, and The Last Jedi, but less said about that the better. But some of this film was filmed there. No, I didn't expect the Johnny Lee Miller fan club. Anyway, right, so off we go. Right, so we start off. There we go, Gemma Arterton, who's astonishingly gorgeous. I can't get over it. But anyway, there we go. Byzantium. Byzantium is the name of a place in this film. There's the hotel that they end up living in, and by coincidence, at the end of the film, spoilers, going to spoil the film, obviously. By the end of the film, it's the origin place of a sword at the end of the film. He says, "This sword is from Byzantium." And it's also the name of the hotel that they just happened to shack up in. Right, off we go. So I've got to remember what happens here now, because it's quite a complex story. As I said, I'll not do it justice. Right, so we start off with Saoirse Ronan as Eleanor Webb. I think it was Who Culture just mentioned that Johnny Lee Miller was an actor who has criminally never been on lists of possible choices to play the Doctor. All right, very good. I'm sure he'd be fine as the Doctor. I always said, get I forgot his bloody name now. Fantastic Beasts, somewhere to find him. That actor. He's won an Oscar, hasn't he, for playing Stephen Hawking. What's his name now? Anyway, he played the main character in the Fantastic Beasts films, didn't he? He'd be a good Doctor, but probably out of the BBC's price range. But anyway, right. So this is Eleanor Webb. Saoirse Ronan as Eleanor Webb, and what she does, she writes her life story in a lovely calligraphic handwriting, and then she just throws it away because nobody can know, her true story. By the way, before we go in any further, Saoirse Ronan and Gemma Arterton, they're both vampires, but they're not like fang vampires that shrivel in daylight and need a stake through the heart and all that stuff. They are a different sort of vampire. The only part of vampire lore that seems to, cross over in this is that they drink blood and they've got to be invited in. So I don't know what happens if they just try and walk in. Don't show us that, but anyway, so there you go. She's telling her story in a beautiful script writing. Because remember, she's 200 years old, 210 years old, we're told. 206 years old in this film, we're told. Eddie Redmayne, yes, that's the fella, Eddie Redmayne. Eddie, yes, that's the fella. He'd be a good Doctor. Because in Fantastic Beasts, it was essentially Doctor Who anyway, wasn't he? His bag were his TARDIS, wasn't it? But anyway. Right, so there she's tearing up what she's just written out, her life story, and she writes it out, and then she scrunches it up and just throws it away. And there you go. They're living in some horrible flats in some south of England town. It was actually filmed in Hastings in the south of England, which is obviously famous for being the site of the famous battle in 1066. So they're living here, and then this old chap finds one of her pieces of paper and picks it up, and then he's sitting down reading it, and she comes out and sits next to him, and she reads it out to him. He gives it back to her, and she reads it out to him, and he's obviously he's a delicate old man. And then she's reading it out to him. She had meant to smother the baby as soon as it was born. By the way, she's talking about herself. So she's reading that, and he obviously realizes there's something special about this young lady, this young 16-year-old girl. But then we cut to Clara's workplace. By the way, there's no nudity in this film, which I found odd. Considering the subject matter, a lot of prostitution and stuff going on in this film, but there's no nudity. Not that I noticed, anyway. So we see Clara at work. She's working at a strip club. She's doing a lap dance for a fella who looks oddly like Robert Patrick. I don't think it is him. I don't think it is, doesn't he? It looks just like Robert Patrick, doesn't he? So she's doing a lap dance for him, and she steals his wallet as she's writhing about on him. And he grabs hold of her. Obviously, you're not allowed to grab him, are you? And so anyway, she bites his nose, and she goes rushing off and says, "Look, she's bitten his nose." And she goes rushing out of the strip joint. So it's another job she's lost. You get the feeling she's lost a lot of these jobs. Anyway, this old fella Has he got a name? I don't know. Let's check. Let's check, see if he's got a name. It might just say old man. I don't know. Oh, I'm going to have to go to all cast and crew. No, it don't say, does it? I don't think. Oh, Tom Hollander's uncredited, by the way, in the film. I never really paid any attention. But anyway, never mind. No, it doesn't say his name. Not that I can see. Doesn't even say old man. Or does it? No, I don't. Unless that's him, Robert Folds. I don't know, because it doesn't say his name in the film, but never mind. So he goes back to, he takes her back to his house, whatever it is, and going backwards and forwards a lot, cutting backwards and forwards. You see Clara falling out with her boss and leaving. And then someday this chap comes into the bar asking if they've seen the girl, showing a picture of Clara, asking if they've seen it, and they're all saying no. There he is, because he's after her. And it turns out they're called the Brotherhood, because apparently only men are allowed to be vampires in this story. And she's like, her and her daughter are like illegal vampires. Not Tom Holland. Not Tom Holland. Hollander. No. That's not Tom Hollander, and that's not Tom Hollander's in it later on, and it's not Tom Holland either. But I don't know who's playing who the old man is. Anyway, so she's stealing money from the till, and then she notices him, this fella, and he calls her by name, and then they go for a chase through the streets of, I presume it's Hastings. They go running about and run through some supermarkets, pulling things over, and I think they end up on the roof of a building. There we go. They end up on the roof of a building. And she gets cornered. It's nice to see her running in stockings and suspenders and stuff. It's well worth looking. But she just jumps through the roof, through one of the skylights. There she goes, down into a bouncy castle. All the kids go scattering. But he follows her down and grabs hold of her. And then go, you would sell nations with your whoredoms. They say things like that. They have this, florid language to the vampires, apart from Clara, who just F's and blinds it all the way through the film. But anyway, as all that's happening, this old fella is showing Ella, his photo album. And he's showing her this lady here. It says the love of his life, and she says, "Oh, your wife." And it turns out, no, she was the wife of his brother. And he loved her, but he said she never knew, and neither did his brother. So it was like an unrequited love he had for his brother's wife, and so that's his big regret. But then he realized, he knows he wants his life to end now. He's had enough now, and he obviously realizes she can facilitate this for him. So she asks him if he's sure. So she gets her thumbnail out. Not that sort of thumbnail. But all I hear is telling her there was a story when he was a boy, and he tells it. And this is why I'm wondering: is it supposed to be set in Ireland, or is he supposed to be from Ireland? I don't know. But here it says in the next line. So I can't remember the word. There we go. The Neve. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Irish, isn't it, or Celtic, or Gaelic, or whatever the hell they speak. We're talking about the Revenants, which are like vampires, aren't they? So he obviously realised she's something to do with that. I don't know. Maybe just senses it. I don't know. But there you go. She tells him her name, and so he's ready. So he sticks his wrist. And there you go. A thumbnail grows. They don't have fangs. The thumb grows, and then the stab. That's what she does. And then she drinks his blood, and he passes away. And then we cut to the gorgeous Gemma Arterton. She's taken this fella back. What's his name? Oh, by the way, the lap dancing guest, who I said looked like Robert Patrick, was an actor called David Heap, which I've never heard of. What's his name, this fella? I don't know, because I can't find a picture of him. You think he'd be up near the top because he's quite a prominent character. Oh, it's him. Werner is his name, played by Thor Lindhart. So there we go. He looks Scandinavian, doesn't he? Anyway, she's in the mirror. Yes, I told you that. Not that sort of vampire. Anyway, so here she is, and she's been all supplicant to him. She said, calling him sir and stuff like that, as though he's thinking he's won now because he's been chasing her, and he's bringing her into the brotherhood. So she says she's gonna treat his cut. So he follows her into the kitchen or whatever, a bathroom, whatever, kitchen in it, I think. She's gonna treat his wound. But then, as they're going out, she grabs this like cheese wire thing. And there you go. And she cuts his head off with the cheese wire. And it's cool. There's blood spraying everywhere, look. And then his head's off. Cool. Gore straight away. If Gemma Arterton wanted to cut my head off, I don't think I'd fight much, to be completely honest. Anyway, so here you go. She's taking her fill from this old man. He's passed away. So there we go. So she goes home. And that's what she does. There's Ella. She just preys on people who are ready to die. Usually the old or people who are ready to die, and it's got to be willingly. Got to be willingly. So anyway, so she's heading back home, and then she goes in and sees Clara all covered in blood, and she sees the headless body, and they've got to move out now. So she tells her to pack. There you go. So they pack a bag. Clara cleans herself up, and they set fire to the flat and go running out into the night. So there we go. So they've got to move on. So they're thumbing a lift. So I don't know where they were then. They end up at this seaside town, but I don't know where. We'll say London. I bet they were in London somewhere. So they end up in this seaside town, hitchhiking in a truck. Right. So what they got to do now? Oh, so they're still moving. They sleep in a cabbage field for some reason. Don't know why, but they do. Now they're at the seaside. Oh, and as they're walking, it shows a. Never mind. As they're walking, Eleanor has these little moments where she like looks into her past, but we can see her and her past in the same shot, if you know what I mean. So there you go. She's looking and she's remembering when she was young and she was brought up in an orphanage. We'll learn more about it later on. So she's remembering that, seeing the row of orphans walking along the beach. Then what? They're talking about, they've got to find somewhere else to live. And she says she's going to earn some money for them now, is Clara. Doing all, just what she knows, because she's been, a prostitute for 200 years. So that's all she knows. And Ella is, she's not happy about that. But anyway, so she sees this fella. He's obviously the local pimp with his, I think the Eastern European girls that is, pimping out. So Clara's basically, she ends up taking over that business, so to speak. But he's seeing, he's wondering what's going on. So Ella goes for a walk, and she ends up at this, I think it's like a hotel or something, and she sees a piano. She starts playing the piano. I don't know what she's playing. I've looked it up, and where are we? It's Ludwig van Beethoven's Piano Sonata, Opus 2, number 3. And apparently, she had to learn. She had an intense 12-week crash course in piano lessons so she could play this. She is actually playing this. And there's another thing later on that she's playing. So I don't know if the thing later on is because I don't know. Only thing I know about Beethoven is his fifth. But she learned to play the piano for this film. So there you go. So she's playing that, and as I say, it's really nice playing. You know what? I'll unmute it and we'll listen for a minute because it's Beethoven, isn't it? You get the idea. You get the idea. So obviously they all like it, and this is where we meet Frank, who's a young waiter. Oh, in a minute, I'm going to see him in a minute. Never mind. And then we cut back to Clara getting ready for work. And there we see there's Frank in the background. He comes over and says, you know, she's amazing. We also meet Daniel Mays now. Daniel Mays plays Noel, who's the owner of the Byzantium, however you want to pronounce it, hotel. But he's gone there to see Clara because he wants her services. Anyway, back to Frank. This is Frank, played by Caleb Landry Jones, who I thought were Irish, but turns out he's American, which explains something in the film. He's ill. He's got, or he had leukemia, and in the film, and he must have been born in America, and then they brought it. He says we came over here because your health service is free. They couldn't afford in America. They couldn't afford what he needed, so they came over to the UK because his mum's English. His mum's Kate Ashfield, as I said, who you may know from Shaun of the Dead. Right. Anyway, so he's taken with Ella, and she leaves then, and he says you should, you know, pass your hat round. You know, people will give you money. So she says no, she don't want to do that. So then she goes, and he says I get off at 10. Oh, they're saying that little, and then she leaves, and he says I finish at 10, and there you go. And then she goes. So anyway, so their relationship begins at this point. And at this point begins the relationship between Noel and Clara. So he comes in, and she says, you know, 50 for a blow, 100 for the rest. So he just gives her 50. And she says, smashing. So they get down to it, but then he just bursts into tears. And it is quite sad, this, actually. But this film gets to me a little bit in places. There you go. It breaks down. And apparently his mother's just died. There you go. There was a funeral, and he couldn't stay at the funeral. He ran away, and then he went back to the hotel that his mother owned. He's inherited this hotel, and he'd been trying to run it, I think, while she was ill, and made a mess of it. And it's losing money, and so they're in massive debt. But then he found 50 quid. He says, "I found £50 in, you know, one of her drawers or something," and he's brought it to spend on Clara. So anyway. So he's telling her all his life story, and then he blurts out about the hotel. So she obviously thinks, well, she says nice things to him, by the way, you know, about his grief, showing that he loved her and all that. But then she realizes he owns a hotel. So, you know, that's something she needs. They need somewhere to stay, don't they? So anyway. So there we go. That's her asking what business was she in. So off they go to the hotel. Right, so Frank's got off work. He goes and talks to Ella, who's just sitting. I presume the beach is just on the left-hand side. I don't know. It's night time. We can't see it. And he's trying to talk to her, but he doesn't really get anywhere. He's asking about the piano and all that. And then she blurts out that, you know, she practiced for 200 years. And obviously, you know, he doesn't take it literally. And he says he passed around a teacup and he raised some money for her. We don't know how much, but he gives her the money that he got for her playing, and he gives her his phone number as well. And she says, "I don't have a phone." But anyway, So off she goes. There you go. It's nice to meet you. She says goodbye, and off she goes. But obviously they're going to meet again. But then Clara and Noel turn up, and she's calling him is their white knight, is their savior. So they go to the Byzantium hotel. It's a bit run down. It actually doesn't look too bad. It's just a bit untidy. It just needs a good clean up, really, inside. A bit of spit and polish. That's all it needs, doesn't it? But anyway, so there they are. So they found their new home with their old-fashioned lift. Right, so off we go. So this is where Clara, she's cogs are going, and she's going to start using the hotel. Basically, she turns it into a brothel. That's essentially what happens, but not just yet. She's going to work her way into Noel's affections. By the way, Daniel Mays, if you recognise his face, he were in. Which one were he in? Can't remember. Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes. I think it was Ashes to Ashes he were in. The time travel police thing on the BBC. Life on Mars was John Sims, wasn't it? And Ashes to Ashes was what's the face? The voice of Lara Croft in some of the Tomb Raider games. I've forgotten the name. Keely Hawes. He were in that. He played the baddie in Ashes to Ashes, and he were also in Rogue One. He played the fella that Cassian Andor killed at the beginning. Anyway, so there we go. So he's getting to know Ella, and he's a nice fella. He's Noel, and he doesn't like when he lets it happen. I don't know why. I think it's because he's just a nice fella. He don't like to say no. He lets all this stuff happen, and but then he makes a stand at the end and pays for it. Right. Here we are. She's having another flashback. By the way, one of the interesting bits that came out of the interviews, I think from the cinematographer, he said that the original plan, they were going to film all the present day stuff on digital video, and all the flashbacks they were going to do on film, film it on film. But then when they did some tests and they found they couldn't really tell much difference between them from the digital camera they were using and the film camera they were using. So they ended up just filming it all on film and trying to, and then in post-production, make the flashbacks look different. I can't tell a difference. They'll look the same to me because this is a flashback. Maybe slightly bluer. I don't know. But here's where she's remembering when she was turned into a vampire. She has a brief memory of it. Clara taking her to the island. This is Skellig Michael Island. With all I think they're supposed to be starlings. I don't think they're puffins or porgs. I think they're supposed to be starlings, but they're flying about. This is being turned into a vampire. Apparently, you go into this hut and you meet yourself, and the yourself kills you, and then you come back to life as a vampire. So that's what happens here. So there we go. So she's meeting herself. This is the end of time, and then she wakes up in the present day. Right. So what's she doing now? This is the police have arrived at the burnt out flats. They found the headless body. And they also find the old man downstairs. I don't know if that's this scene or next, but I think it might be the next bit. There you go. That's the news. Gruesome find in burnt out flat. But what's happening? Oh, she's looking at it on the computer. And she's not telling, by the way, Ella doesn't realise there are other vampires. The Brotherhood are other vampires, and she doesn't realise there are others. She thinks it's just her and her mother. This is her mother, by the way. They're passing each other off as sisters, but Clara is Ella's mother. He explained how it works later on. So Ella's asking if they're going to move on, and Clara says, well, they should stay on for a few days. She's got a scheme that's building in her brain. But there's Daniel Mays. Why, she runs over to him, he wakes up and he says, I thought it was a dream. I thought I'd wake up and you'd not be there anymore. But no. He's in your life, mate, now. Right, so Ella's looking out the window. It's all very arty-farty, by the way. She's looking out the window at the pier. And then she has, I think there's another flashback coming. I think. Yes, there is. Where we meet. This is Johnny Lee Miller. This is Johnny Lee Miller as Riven, Captain Riven, but it's spelt Ruthven, Ruthven, but it's pronounced Riven. And as you can see, he's got diseases, and this is where his. It's all, by the way, it's not in chronological order. We see things out of chronological order. So this is where he's introducing himself to young Ella. Way back in the early 19th century, and basically he's going to spoil her because Clara has done something to him. She shoots him basically, and does other things, and now he's taking it out on Clara's daughter. He says something about her mother, and she says, "My mother's dead," because she was told that her mother was dead, which is why she's in an orphanage. There you go. Your mother stole something from me. Now I'm going to steal something from her. And he's going to basically R-word Ella and basically give her his diseases. I don't know what diseases it is. Something nasty and virulent. But obviously she's remembering that. Then we're back in present day. She's having a little weep. And this is where Noel comes in here and asking if she's all right. And actually, Clara tells him her name's Camilla. Or is it Carmilla? Does it say no? Just Camilla. And she tries to tell him the truth, and there's Ella, but Clara interrupts just in time because I think Ella really wants it all to end, but Clara won't let it. There you go. There she says there's a code that they survive by. So anyway, and there we go. She off screen. We can't see him, but we're just seeing Ella listening in. Clara's asking Noel about how much his mother made, the hotel, and he said high season about 1,000. He said, well, I met that in a day, and Noel says, well, I want to save you from that life. And she says, no. I'm going to make you lots of money and pay off your mother's debts. So there you go. And, this is his mother's house. He don't want that sort of thing going on, but it does happen. But anyway. Ella's going out for another walk. I think she's going to meet, she meets one of the prostitutes we saw earlier on, the Eastern European ones. And she tells her story. Obviously, she's not paying attention. And they used to say, my mother lives on human blood and has done for 2 centuries. And another flashback. See, oldie worldy ships on the sea. And this is young Clara now. And this is where we meet Captain Darvel, played by Sam Riley. Not Captain, it's Midshipman Darvel at this point. Played by Sam Riley. I think it's Sam Riley. We'll have to check, make sure. Yes, it is. Comes over. I think she's shellfish. She's selling shellfish. She sells seashells on the seashore, sort of thing. I think the mussels. And he's asking for one. Or there might be oysters. I don't know. He gets one offer and to try one, and it seems a nice chap. Does Mr. Darvel? I thought he was going to be a baddie, to be completely honest, but he's not. Riven's the baddie. So he tries one of her shellfish, and it's nice, and he gives her a pearl, in recompense. A pearl for a pearl. So there you go. Gives her that. But then Captain Riven arrives, and he scoops her up and rides off with her. and basically takes her to a brothel and sells her into, the prostitution, essentially. One minute she's selling shellfish on the beach, and the next minute she's living in a brothel. Why don't she just run away and run back to the beach? I don't know, but she doesn't. So anyway, so here we go. So all lot of, "Ee, I'll teach you, dearie," and all that sort of stuff. So this is young Clara, being unhappy, essentially, and he's horrible to her. He's Riven. See, essentially, he owns her now. But then we cut to, I don't know how long's passed, a year maybe, I don't know. A certain amount of time has passed, and young Clara's got up the duff, and she's had a baby. So this is young Ella, and she attempted to kill the baby, but she doesn't. She secretes the baby away. Here we go, and puts her on the steps of the orphanage, and leaves a note saying that this is the baby's. This is Eleanor Webb. I want you to look after her. I said, I will pay with gold for every month that she lives. So obviously, whatever money she's earning from a lady of the night she's gonna, it's gonna go towards Ella's upkeep at the orphanage. So there we go. And then she's been writing her story out and then throwing it away. And there you go. That's an example of her looking back into her past. As I said, it's quite arty-farty. Then she follows them, but she's not paying attention. She's, obviously, she's thinking about her past, and then Frank nearly runs into her on his bicycle, and then gets knocked off, and he cuts his wrist, and the blood's spraying out everywhere. And he goes running off. And she's following him, and he runs home. She helps him, and lots of blood's coming out because we learned that it takes anticoagulants. But anyway, it's where we meet his mum, and they take him to hospital. He were holding a handkerchief over his wound on his wrist. It wasn't a deep wound or anything, but as I said, because he takes anticoagulants, lots of blood's coming out. There you go. She sees that on the floor. Then as they drive away, Frank's mother says, "Are you his girlfriend?" And she's like, But then as they drive away, she picks up there you go. Are you his girlfriend? As they drive away, she picks up the tissue and drinks off the blood from it. Sucks the blood off it, I suppose the word is what you'd say. There you go. So anyway, right. So the Brotherhood, they're like making out that they're like police or detectives or something, but obviously they're not. They found the old man, and they see that he's got an injury on his wrist. So they know, vampirism's going on. Like Michael Palin, European Vacation. I don't know. Or do you mean Eric Idle? I don't know. I've never seen European Vacation. Of the vacation films, I think the only one I've seen is Christmas one. I might have seen the just Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. I don't think I've seen the European one. Anyway. Right, what's happening? Right, Clara's at the boardwalk. That's what you call it, wouldn't you? The boardwalk. And she's going to sort out this pimp. There you go. Would you like to kiss me? She says. So she's seducing him, basically, and then she's going to kill him. So there we go. This is where she kills him on the beach, drinks his blood, and she's holding him down. There you go. She killed him to death. But she's left him a nice kiss thing, like a Rolling Stones logo on his neck. So, right, so she's sorted out the local pimp, and now she's going to take his girls, and so she takes them back to the hotel. Vacation, European vacation, Christmas vacation, are each excellent in their own way. I'm sure I'm not the biggest Chevy Chase fan, to be completely honest, but anyway. I like Christmas Vacation. Right. Ella's gone to the hospital to see how Frank's doing. So she goes in. And there he is. He's unconscious. He's obviously being given blood. So she just sits quietly with him. But we notice that I don't know why. It's supposed to. Maybe it's because she can see the blood. I don't know. But it says, the nail appears when, they get a craving for blood. So maybe it's just because she can see it. So the nail grows out. But she doesn't do anything. And you will see Kate Ashfield comes in. She's obviously with child. As Gabby, that's Frank's mum. And she says, oh, hello, they introduce each other to each other. So anyway, she says she's got to go. She says, don't tell him I was here. This is where we're learning he takes anticoagulants and that he's had leukemia, but apparently he's in remission. Fair enough on Chevy, but they also have Beverly D'Angelo, which is true. Which is the lovely Beverly D'Angelo. Where were we? Right. So he's in remission. I'm not sure if he actually is, because he does seem quite ill all the way through this film. And his voice, he's got an old man's voice, but I don't know if he has in real life. I don't know. Anyway, they said, don't tell him I was here, but obviously she does. So she goes. All right, and as she's leaving, she looks in this room. There's an old lady there. So she obviously can sense that this old lady's close to the end. The old lady says, Angel. And then Ella goes in and says that, peace with you, may light shine upon you, pretending to be an angel of mercy. And there you go, she's going to kill this old lady. They don't mention that on the news, not that I noticed, that an old lady had the blood drained in hospital through her neck, the vampires stalking Hastings Hospital. That never gets mentioned. Anyway, she gets back to the hotel, and here we see the two Eastern European hookers giggling and having fun. They're asking if she's, going to work there, sort of thing. But then Clara comes in and says she doesn't have anything to do with this. You stay away from her. Then they have a big row. There's her and Ella. There you go. Mother's supposed to care about the children. Have a big row because they're always rowing. And then we see what they're getting up to. All this sort of stuff, brothel type stuff. Right. So what's happening next? All right, she's going to North Haven, and North Haven turns out to be the orphanage back in the early 19th century. That was the orphanage where she grew up, but now it's a college, a place of learning. So she goes there, here we go, and she enrolls in a class. This is where we see Tom Hollander, not Tom Holland, Tom Hollander, who you may know from Pirates of the Caribbean. He played the baddie. I can't remember the name of the character. The baddie in that. I think he appeared in the second one and the third one. Like the Admiral or he was Lord somebody or other, the baddie fella. He played him. He was only a little tiny man. But anyway, they're lying on the floor for some reason. It's like an art class. But the lying on the floor and is telling them things, saying, close your eyes and then think of yourself and then say the first thing. When I call your name, say the first thing that comes into your head and all that. There you go. And she says mother, but she's thinking about when she was young in the orphanage. And this happens to be the same room. Sure, like I said, we see that this stained glass window here is the same that is in the room that she slept in when she was younger. There you go. There you go. That's the same stained glass window there. And she used to wake. She woke up. She used to wake up and see Clara looking in at her, but she didn't know that it was Clara. It was at the time. It was her mother watching her. There she is. She didn't know because she thought her mother was dead. And and there we go. She's telling him about what she used to do. So he says, "Oh, very interesting." And then Frank, who just happens to be in the same class, pardon me, he tells a story about I had a friend, an imaginary friend. Okay, pardon me, an imaginary friend called David Atkinson when he was a kid, and he used to play with him and stuff like that. And then he said, I grew out of him. Oh, he said he was the only person who could see him. David Atkinson used to appear and he'd play with him. And then he grew out of him. And hello, Josh Temple. Sorry for being late. Oh, don't worry, you're not missing out. I'm not doing this film justice anyway, so it's banal. But I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, so tell him about David Atkinson. And it turns out, apparently says, I learned later that the family that lived in the house before him were called Atkinson. And they had a young baby that died, like crib death, cot death, whatever you want to call it, that were called David. So, was it a ghost or was it like the grown-up ghost or something of that baby that he saw? But anyway, there we go. That's what he's telling it. There we go. Good story. Right, so he's writing an essay. They hope they get homework now, and they've got to write an essay titled "I Am." So they basically got to tell their life story. So that's just playing into what Ella does anyway. But anyway, but Josh has got his harpoon. No harpooning the vampires in this film. Well, not the goody ones. So it's got to be true. So she tells her story. She writes it down, but she doesn't hand it in. She gives her story. She writes a whole story, as much as she knows, and she gives it to Frank in a bit, not just yet. This where he's saying that his mum told him that she came to see him at the hospital, and she has the impression that they're an item, and so he's saying, would that be such a bad thing? And then she says, well, it'd be fatal. Because, but it's like an unrequited love. She runs off. She runs away because she can't fall for anybody. So anyway, so then she starts thinking about. She's writing a story again, and she's telling about how Clara got very ill at one point, and she had some sort of lung disease. Don't ask me what. Where she's coughing up blood. And there you go. By the time I was 6, she was dying. But obviously, she didn't know this at the time. This is what Clara's told her. Bravely ran away. Oh, that rings a bell. That rings a bell. And I can't think where I've heard it. Anyway. So Clara's very ill, and she's having another flashback, and Riven's waiting for her with his gang. There he is. But then a stranger came. It turns out it's not a stranger. It's Mr. Darvel. He's come, and it turns out he is now a vampire. He got ill some years previously, and he joined the Brotherhood. They turned him into a vampire, or gave him the means to turn into a vampire. Because in this, if a vampire bites you, or you drink vampire blood or whatever, that doesn't work. You've got to go to this special place to become a vampire. Anyway, so he sees Clara there being ill, looking very voluptuous, and there you go. He remembers her from when she was a young girl on the beach. He gave her a pearl, but. There's Riven. He asks her to go and open the curtains, and Riven's there asleep in the chair. And then we see a nice, silhouette of the gorgeous Gemma Arterton for several minutes. It's quite distracting while Riven and Darvel are speaking. But then we learn. You see, Riven last saw Darvel dead. And we learn that story in a bit, what happened. But he thought Darvel were dead. And he essentially stole everything that were Darvel's. But Darvel's not bothered. We don't know his first name, by the way, so I'll just keep calling him Darvel. He don't care about, you know, what he stole. He's come to give something to Riven, which we learn later on. So then, basically, Riven then starts beating up Lara, and he's, you know, not Lara, Clara, because he's not a nice person. He's a horrible person. But don't worry, he gets his just desserts. Have you stolen my chair again, princess? Yes, you have, haven't you, cheeky monkey? There you go. As usual, she endured his violence towards her. Anyway, right. So Ella's going to Frank's house, and she's going to give him her story. You know, that I Am by Eleanor Webb. She's going to give him that. She's not handing it in, you know, because she's not allowed to, but she's giving it to Frank because she trusts Frank, and she wants him to know her story. So here we go. We see him looking ill. So she gives him that. And off she goes. And then he has a look, and we see her lovely cursive writing. I was trying to think of that word. Cursive writing. Cursive script. No such thing as a good bloodsucker, only lycanthrope. Oh, that's a werewolf, isn't it? A lycanthrope. Right, so he's got that. So he's reading that. And he's where he's telling Clara about how Darvel died, and it's he developed a fever, he got really ill, and he was trying to find a cure for it. But then he fell in with this brotherhood. They would we learn he was rich, and these men came to see him. And this fellow, we see him later on as well. I can't remember his name. Hang on, I'll check. Where is it? Savella, played by Yuri Gavriel. He's got a great voice. He has got a great voice. He needs more cowbell. That's another thing that's ringing a bell. I can't place it. Anyway, so he meets these chaps from the Brotherhood, and they give him this map, and it's telling him where this special island is, where they're going to go and film Force Awakens in 200 years. So he is Frank reading her tale, sitting on the windowsill. Then we flashback again, and then the rowboat out to the island. Not very good paddles on this boat, have they? I mean, look at that. You think that, you know, they're just sticks, aren't they? They're not bloody oars. Anyway, I'm guessing they're accurate. So off they go. See, Riven takes him to Skellig Michael Island, which is off the Irish coast, isn't it? Is it Northern Ireland or is it Republic? I can't remember. They go the oarsman, sticksman, wouldn't set foot on the place. And here we see I think they're supposed to be starlings. I think only starlings fly about like that. I don't think puffins fly about like that, do they? Because the island's famous for its puffin population, which is why there's porgs in the Star Wars film. Anyway, so they climb up to this hut, this stone hut. There it is. They climb up there with this lovely waterfall around it. I don't know if this is real, you know, part of the actual island. It probably is. It looks like it, doesn't it? Like I say, it's very picturesque. He's saying he hated that place, and you can see his illness is starting to show itself. Does it say what he got? Have a look in the details. No, it's not saying. Not saying what's up. Oh, syphilis. He's syphilis ridden, it says. He's riddled with syphilis. That's what he's got. So anyway, so Darvel goes in the hut. Oh, he goes, sent me to fetch water, but that was just a ruse to get him out of the way. So he goes inside and he does the old meets himself, as we saw Ella do earlier on. But then Riven isn't seeing this, so we're seeing it from Riven's point of view. all he sees was the waterfall turns to blood. And there you go. So he's wondering what's going on. Then he goes in and he sees Darvel dead on the floor with his throat cut. So he steals his rings and his money and everything, all his things of value that he's got on him, steals those and then goes back to the mainland and takes all of Darvel's possessions as well, his property and all that. There you go. Took his rings. And it says something else as well. What does he say? Oh, and when I returned, I think it's took his property or whatever. There we go. Took his property. So he's claimed everything of Darvel's, but Darvel doesn't care. Just he's a vampire. Right. So we cut to the present day, and they're watching. Is this Dracula, Prince of Darkness? I'm gonna have to check. Oh, it's not. It's not. I know it's not Dracula. Pardon me. We're called in America Horror of Dracula. I think it's Prince of Darkness. Dracula, Prince of Darkness. Oh no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Because that's too. I think it is. Oh no, it is. Yes, it is Dracula, Prince of Darkness with the lovely Barbara Shelley, not Mary Shelley. She did Frankenstein. With the lovely Barbara Shelley. So they're watching that in the hotel. So there we go. And then there's a knock at the door, and Clara goes, and it's Frank, and he says he's come to see Ella, and she says she's not in. She's lying. She's not in. So off you go. And he says, okay, well, can you tell her I've read her story, and it's amazing and all that. So there you go. Looking very seductive, isn't she? There you go. I read her story. So she says, off you go. So she's sent him off. So now they're going to have another big row. And this is where Noel's telling her that he doesn't like what's going on, and he wants to change it. So there you go. She's telling Ella that she sent Frank away, so she's going to go after Frank, and they're going to have a bit of a row. Oh, that's later on. They have a bit of a massive row later on. But she's going to go and catch up there because she catches up with Frank. There we go. Brilliant story. But he don't believe it's true. He doesn't believe it's true. And she's saying, it is true. But there's he's watching from the hotel. Right, so she goes to this other place. I think it's a hotel. It's not old people's home, is it? I'm sure it's a hotel. She's listened to this lady playing the piano. She plays it really well. She, introduced, and she obviously takes her up to a room. So obviously can sense that she's close to the end. She puts a record on. I mean, maybe I don't know. Does she get to know these people first? Does she get into their lives so that the trust her and all that? I don't know, but as you can see, she puts the record on, and then the thumbnail grows. Probably that's the only visual effect in the film, isn't it? Probably on the blood, the blood, the waterfall of blood. But so she does the old, may peace be upon you and all that light stuff, like it's been an angel sort of thing, and she's relieving her from her pain. So, and then we cut to the dead pimp on the beach. The police have found him, the Brotherhood, so they know it's another vampire killing. So they're getting closer now, aren't they? They're closing in on Clara and Ella. What's happening now? Frank's gonna give Ella's story to Tom Hollander. What's the name of his character? Can't remember. I'll have to check. Tom Hollander, where are you? Kevin. He's got a last name as well. Why would he tell us his last name? Kevin Minton, Mr. Minton. Apparently, I think he's Noel's teacher or something like that, because he introduced him to, we see him and Noel meet later on. He said, "Oh, Mr. Minton, I've got detention over," or something like that. So maybe he was Noel's teacher at school. But anyway, so Frank gives him Ella's I am story. And so he's amazed by it. So he goes to see his associate, Morag, and telling her about this amazing story. It's like Edgar Allan Poe and Mary Shelley wrote a story, but saying it's written as a true story, but obviously it can't be because we were born in 1804. But they're amazed by a turn of phrase, archaic turn of phrase, and lovely cursive handwriting, which kids don't know about these days, do they? But so they want to. He thinks it's a sign that something's wrong at home. So he wants to investigate. His Ella being abused at home or something like that. He thinks it's a sign of something going on at home. But Morag's quite taken with the story, it seems. But anyway, so we have another flashback. Oh, she's talking about she's reading the book. This is what not the book, the story. So Darvel's going to give Riven this little box, and in that box is the map to the island. But obviously, he doesn't he's been before, hasn't he? Because he took him earlier on. So why does he need this map? I don't know. Maybe it's just a ritual. I don't know. But so he's going to give him that, give him the chance, to live forever, immortality. So that's what he's going to do. This is where he's telling him that he awoke, after Riven had stolen all his stuff. He awoke the next day or whatever, and found he were immortal. And he sees the blood waterfall, and so he gets back to the beach, and here he meets this fellow with the amazing voice. And is that him who she cut his head off? Werner. Is it Werner? Could be. Don't know. But they're giving him this fella to his first kill. There you go. Drink my son. He's in this deep voice he's got. So he's talking to him, say, "You are ever a survivor." And I'm watching it, and he's saying all these things to Riven, but it could also apply to Clara because she's listening as well. And so later on, we learn what happens next. I don't think it happens now. It might happen now. I don't know. No, I don't think it happens. We learn later on what happens next because Clara tells us what happens next. Obviously, Ella doesn't know, does she? But Ella must have told we learn that Ella's told Clara, and Clara's told Ella just so much. She doesn't know everything. Right. So what's happening here? All right. This is Mr. Minton is come to see Ella and Clara. Greeted at the door by one of the Eastern European ladies of the night. So up he goes, and then he sees Noel. He comes out. They go, "Mr. Minton, how are you?" He's come to see Clara and Ella. He says, "I think Ella's out, and Clara's busy." We see stuff going on in the background. There are a bit actually earlier on that made me laugh. Let's go back if we see it. No, there. It's like just poking up above my head there. Some sort of adult toy, but then he notices it and covers it up, which made me laugh. Right. So, anyway, it's telling us that they're concerned over Ella's welfare. So it says, well, he's got to see Clara, or he'll be back, with basically he'll call social services. That's what he says. If Clara doesn't get in touch with him, because Clara's Ella's legal guardian. I don't know how legal it is. I don't know, because I imagine they won't have like national insurance numbers, will there, and all this, social security and stuff. 200-year-old. But anyway, it says if he doesn't hear from it, he'll call social services and the police. So it's threatening that. And then we see, the stuff going on. They've got social services and the police, so off he goes. But then we Morag is by the way, who's she played by? She's got a familiar face, Morag. Maria Doyle Kennedy. What have I seen her in? Don't know. Probably Father Ted, because she's Irish. So I've probably seen her in Father Ted. But anyway. She's with Ella in her office, and they're going through the story, and she's saying, it's amazing. And Ella's telling her, we do learn what happens next. From Ella's, Clara must have told Ella this, and that Clara took the next step, and she decided what to do. She shot Riven under the snooker table, pool table, whatever the hell it is, billiard table. She shot him in the leg. Stole the box, rode into the night, and obviously got a boat out to the island, and made herself a vampire. But obviously, Morag's not believing it. But I think she doesn't believe it, but she's kind of intrigued. And can see that Ella's speaking to her, and she's got kind of reminds me of Connor McLeod in Highlander. He's got these old eyes. These eyes have seen things that you can't imagine. For hundreds of years. It's got a timeless quality to her. That's just me. But there you go. She likes to tell the truth. Clara just lies all the time. So whatever she's told, you never know if it's true or not. Turns out it is. And then she's asking about other vampires, and Ella says she's never met one. I think we're the only two who still endure. So like I said, using oldie worldy language. But anyway, but she doesn't believe her. So anyway, this is what gets to Morag. She says she can't prove she's a vampire. Why don't you just show her a thumbnail growing? That'd prove something, wouldn't it? I mean, how many people can make their thumbnail grow on command? I don't know, but she just says to her, I can't prove it, but maybe 30 or 40 years from now, when Morag's, old and pruning her roses, young Ella will come walking past and say, "Hello, Morag," and then she'll remember, and then she'll ease her pain. There you go. And so there you go. She's horrified, and he says, "Why don't you just overpower me?" And she says, "Well, I don't do that." There you go. You're not ready, right? So now she's playing a different tune at the piano at the college, and Frank comes to see her, and she's a bit upset. She's saying, "I give you that story, because I trusted you. It was just for you, want for them." So they're kind of falling out. But then he says, "I'm having a birthday party, and you're the only person invited. Will you come?" She says, "Yes." So, right, fair enough. And that's it. So they've had a row, but they're fine. So fair enough. So she goes back home to the hotel. She goes rifling through. I presume this is Clara's bag. She gets the little box out with the map in it, and she's going to give it. There you go. She wraps it, and she's going to give it to Frank for his birthday present. So in they go. She got to invite. He has to invite. This is the first time this is in the film that it's mentioned. Come in, and they make a note of it that she's got to be invited in. I don't know what would happen if she didn't. Maybe it'd be like let the right one in, where she start bleeding from every orifice or something. I don't know. Anyway, this movie is definitely not banal. No, it's just me. Me that's banal. Some might say moribund. Anyway, so he takes her up to his room, and he's saying, he wouldn't mind if she wanted to drink his blood. I think he might think that it'd turn him into a vampire, but that's not how it works. So, but she doesn't. She just holds him, Meanwhile, Clara's gone to see Kevin Minton, Tom Hollander, not Tom Holland. There you go. And she's gone to see him. And so she basically she just says to Kevin that it's all true. It's all true what she's written, apart from the stuff that she's never told Ella. And then she says that so I shoot the bastard Riven, and she pronounces it Riven. But if it's written down and you didn't know, you'd be pronouncing it Ruthven, wouldn't you? It's like Shooty Gatwa, the new Doctor Who. Nobody knew it would pronounce Shooty until we heard him say it. We were all saying Uncooty and stuff like that, weren't we? So I was thinking Ruthven, but it's pronounced Riven. It's like that name Mannering, isn't it? Captain Mannering from Dad's Army. It's spelt Mainwaring, isn't it? But it's pronounced Mannering. In English, weird. Anyway, never mind. So on about that. So she's going to tell him now all about what she does and that she's ruthless and all that. And she's looking very seductive. I said, she can bite me. She can cut me with her thumbnail. I've got quite a long thumbnail. I wonder if I'm a vampire. So she's telling him, what she did. She did the waterfall of blood, and there you go. She's lying under it, covered in blood. Yay! That's what we want, innit? That's what we want. Even the lies, especially the lies. Is that what's his face? Garak. A Garak quote. And then she jumps into the water. I wonder if, though, it's got to be a special effect, hasn't it? Because they're very protective, aren't they, at Skellig Michael Island? And I'm sure, would they allow them to, if this is a real waterfall, would they allow them to put like food dye or whatever, colouring into it? Because it looks real here. It's coming off her. I mean, maybe this isn't at the island. Maybe this is somewhere else. I don't know. But and then she jumps into the water, look, and we see a little bit of red as she hits the water, as though she's, but maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe it's just all CG. I don't know. How did she kill herself? Well, I'll say it's a bit open to interpretation, isn't it? You go into that hut and you meet yourself, like a dead version of yourself. Because usually the you that you see has got like a throat injury with all blood coming out, and then they kill you, and then I presume they just disappear, and because we don't see what happens after that, and then you become a vampire. I think that's it. It's weird. It's weird. Anyway. So I presume she just swims back to shore, and then she sees this poor fisherman here tending to his nets, repairing his nets with his tam o' shanter on. And she just launches herself at him, and she doesn't even bother with. I don't think she even bothers with a nail. Maybe she doesn't know about that yet, and she just basically just rips his throat out. Doesn't show it, but that's her first kill. And then I think Darvel happens upon her in a minute. That might be next. Oh, here is Darvel happens upon her, and he learns that she stole. He's asking, "Where's Riven?" And he learns that she stole the map, and she says something like, "It's not worthy of it." There you go. And we saw Darvel's throat cut. I guess it's always slashed throats, but not necessarily. We've seen earlier on in the film, we saw Ella drink from somebody's wrist. That old man, we saw her drink from his wrist. So, but it's mostly slashed throats because that's where the big artery is, isn't it? So you think they do the leg? They've got a big what is it? Femoral artery, whatever the bloody hell it's called. But no, it's mostly throats. So we learn that she's stolen it. So, but women aren't allowed. There you go. He's saying we're a brotherhood, but no women allowed. So they've got to have a meeting now. There you go. She's telling them they're asking what she did. I was a harlot. So basically, she ends up on the run. I think they're gonna like give her a bit of a stay of execution or something like that for the time being. Just says the metamorphosis into their new life. All right, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. I guess that is, as you can see, she's got a wound on her throat there, so that's what happened to her. But I think Dar was supposed to be, looking out for her, but then later, look, it's going to show it. That's what she's going to do. She's going to punish those who prey on the weak. And that's kind of what she does. She's kind of ruthless. To curb the power of men. So that's what she's going to do, because it's woke. Woke is this film. Before that were even a term. She's a girl boss. But they say we should not permit her to survive, but they do. There you go. She doesn't break the code, but she does eventually, because she learns what happens to Ella. I can never remember her name. Right, so there you go. So she's watching Ella now through the stained glass window, watching her daughter grow. And then one night, Riven pays a visit. This is the night where he uses the hard R word on her. But there we see Gemma and Arterton towering over little Tom Hollander. But I drew that, by the way. I've drawn a few, I do like to draw occasionally. I actually drew this years and years ago, that scene there. But anyway. But now she's going to kill Tom Hollander. Her thumbnail's grown. But she's going to kill in a minute. After she finishes her story. Riven's had his way with Eleanor. And then Clara comes running in and murders Riven, and then she murders Tom Hollander, Kevin Minton. I keep calling him Tom Hollander. She murders Kevin Minton. So and he was, supposedly, he's not an unworthy man, is he? He wanted the best for Ella, didn't he? He thought she were in trouble, but because of his empathy, it's got him killed. Pardon me. Anyway, then we're back to Frank's bedroom. They're having a little discussion about planets and stuff like that, and because he painted the planetarium thing on his ceiling when he were ill. So that's where she's talking about. When she were young, there were only 7 planets because Neptune hadn't been discovered. But so they have a kiss, and she cuts him. I think she cuts him accidentally or something like that. Yeah, a nail grows as they're kissing, so maybe passion brings it out as well. And she cuts his wrist, and then she goes running out. She says, "Sorry," but he wants it, doesn't he? But she's saying she don't want to kill him because he's not ready. But we'll learn what happens with him later. Yes, what did curiosity get the cat? Yes, got it deaded. Right, Morag's arrived, and she's found a dead Kevin Minton. So she calls the police, obviously. Clara gets home and learns that Noel sent the girls away. They bought them tickets on the Eurostar, so they sent them back to Eastern Europe. So they're going to have their big row now, and so they have a big. And she's going to leave, and they're hissing and shouting at one another. And she calls her a nasty word. It's not going to show it. She calls her the C word. There's Ella. She gets that angry with her. She goes storming out. And Clara goes after her. And Noel tries to stop her. So Ella's going down in the lift. They're just going in the stairs. It's quicker, isn't it? It's not that big, is it? Not that tall a hotel. Just lazy. But anyway, she goes down in the lift. And Clara goes and rips open the lift door, and it stops the lift part way down, and she ends up having a bit of a scuffle with Noel, and Noel ends up going head first down the lift shaft. There we go. Boom. So poor Noel's paid for his kindness now, because all he wanted was the best for Clara, wasn't it? Clara and Ella, and he's paid for it with his life. So obviously Clara's upset at that, because I think she liked him, genuinely liked him. So he's dead. F's in the chat for Noel and Kevin Minton. Right. This is Morag. She's called the police, and obviously the Brotherhood. Maybe they are part of the police. I don't know. They've been around for hundreds of years, so maybe they've worked their way into the system. I don't know, but they're obviously closing in on them now. Right. What's happening now? Clara's learning that Ella told Frank the story, so Clara's now got to go and kill Frank. Yes, he is. Clara's bad news for good guys. I'll still let her bite me. I would, even though I think I'm a bit of a good guy. I won't last 2 minutes. Anyway, so Clara's going to sort out. There we go. To sort out Frank. She arrives at Frank's window. It's not like Salem's Lot style. She's not doing that though. She's not. Let me in. She's just standing there, and he sees her, and he won't invite her in. You see the blood dripping down, and we hear the phone. The phone rings, because I think Frank phones. He must have Noel's phone number. Maybe Ella gave him it. I've no idea. But Noel's phone starts ringing. In a bit. Maybe it's not ringing yet. I don't know. But anyway. I think it was ringing. She's trying to get hold of it. And he won't invite her in. She says, well, you'll have to come out. So he goes out. I don't know why. I don't know why he goes out. But who's phoning her now? I can't bloody remember. I can't remember if it's the Morag phoning her. Or it might be Morag. Anyway, he's saying, go on, finish me. He says, I still have the advantage. She's going to leave you anyway. So... Or did she phone it? No, I thought his phone was ringing. Maybe he phoned her. I don't know. Did he phone her? Or did she phone him? Whatever. I can't remember. Yes, he's dumb, isn't he? Said Joshua Kanapke. He dumb. Yeah, he is. I don't think he quite understands, does he? Anyway, I think she phones him. She phones Frank. As Noel's blood drips down on her, and she's saying over the phone, don't let her in. And then Morag and the police and the Brotherhood and the police arrive. Eleanor, what's going on? But obviously Clara takes the phone, and then she learns that the Brotherhood's arrived. So Darvel gets the axe and pries open the lift door, and they take Eleanor into custody. And as they go out, we see there we go. We see poor Noel's blood dripping down. They've forgotten about him now. That's it. Never mentioned again. Poor Noel. Hadn't even bothered to see where this blood's coming from. So they've got her in the car now, and Morag thinks they're either heading to the police station or the hospital, because I think Morag thinks she's injured. Maybe they just didn't realise that poor Noel was, bleeding out. We presume he was dead. He looked dead, bleeding out on the roof of the lift. But anyway, so Clara's running to intercept. They're heading, presume to Frank's. Yes. And then they drive past the hospital. She's saying, where exactly are you taking us? And so she's freaking out, is Morag. But then Clara appears when he's slightly distracted. Here we go. She lands on the windscreen of the car, screaming, smashing the glass. Windscreens don't smash like that, do they? I mean, that bit of sugar glass, that one. They just turn into white, don't they? And millions and millions of little shards of glass, don't they? Or just whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's only a film. So she's hanging onto the front of the car as it's careering about. Then she falls off, and they're going to try and run her over and try and kill her. But she gets out of the way. There you go. Turns around. She's gone. She's shouting and bawling. He's Morag. And he says, I said be calm, but then just breaks her neck. I hate these crying women. So I'll unmute him and listen to his voice. He's got an amazing voice. He just broke her neck.
I hate these crying women.
I hate these crying women. Great voice. Oh dear. So poor Morag's paid for it as well now. So people dying left, right, and centre now in the end of this film. So he's out looking for Clara. Oh, they've handcuffed Ella to the in the car, so she can't help her mother. And he's willing that Darvel, you know, he's a goodie. He's a goodie. He's Darvel, you know. He's on their side. But we don't know that yet. But you know, the things he says, there you go. You had compassion and respect, and he likes the way she works. You know, she only kills people that are ready and all that. But anyway, only saying that Clara killed one of the brethren, so she got to pay for that. But anyway, so Clara appears. So her and I forgot his name. Already. Where is he? Savella. Her and Savella have a fight. There we go. And she's got a thing. She's wrapped round his throat. But then Darvel intervenes, and they overpower her and handcuff her to the railing. He says, "Go get it." So he goes to the car. And he gets a big sword out. "This blade is from Byzantium, my souvenir of the Crusades." What did Byzantium have to do with the Crusades? I don't know. It was probably on the way, wasn't it, I suppose? But maybe there were fights there. Byzantium was the original name for, before it was Constantinople and Istanbul. That was Byzantium, wasn't it? But anyway. So he's going to chop her head off. And then Darvel says it was on the beach. Oh, no, she says to Darvel, it was on the beach like this that we first met. And then, for some reason, Savella says, You do the honours, and he gives the sword to Darvel. And then she's telling that she killed Riven and all that. But she's telling Darvel that he was the Pearl. And there's Savella's saying he's using her womanly wiles to the last. So he gives the sword to Darvel. Says, "You do the honours." So he says, "Hold her still." And then he brings the sword down. Then, oh no, he's chopped her head off. Savella reminds me of Pete Postlethwaite a little bit. There's a bit more heavy set in it. I wonder if he hadn't passed before this, if he'd been that character. I don't know. He could have done it. Like I said, this fella's a bit more heavy set in it, and he's got a gruffer voice, a slightly European accent. But anyway, Pete Postlethwaite, is it? I think that Steven Spielberg said was the greatest actor alive or something. Lost World, Jurassic Park. But I don't know if we were kidding or not. I don't know. Anyway, so we're assuming he's chopped off Clara's head, but no, it's not the case, because we see Clara's fine. Look, she's fine, but Savella isn't, as we see in a minute. There you go. He's had his head chopped off instead. He's chopped off Savella's head, so he's now with Clara and Ella. So they're reunited. Clara's now a goodie. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to burn the evidence first. And then Clara and Darvel are going to go off and on the run, I suppose, from the Brotherhood. But Clara's cutting Ella free. She's saying, you know, you go and do what you want. She gives her some money. you know, it's time for you to live by yourself. You can't stay with your mother forever, basically. So they have a hug, and she says, "Go on." And so obviously very sad, but they're going to go off and do their thing on the run from the Brotherhood. But then we cut to Skellig Michael Island, and Ella's taken Frank there. So there we go. So he's going to go in, and she's going to turn him into a vampire. He's going to become a vampire. So she's got a companion forever. Bit like Let the Right One in, isn't it? She's like grooming him to become a vampire. But obviously he's got to want to be, hasn't he? So he's going to go in. So in he goes. There we go. Throw my story to the wind, and never will I tell it more. And then the waterfall turns red. The starlings fly off. I'm saying the starlings. I don't know if they are or not. And then the waterfall turns red. So we know that he's become a vampire. There we go. And the film ends. The film ends, and it's amazing. And I know I've not done it justice. Because it's an amazing film. I don't think there's not an end credits bit, because it's not that sort of film, is it? No. So yeah, it's an amazing film. I really, really like it. It's a proper classy film. It's Neil Jordan, isn't it? Can't go wrong with Neil Jordan, can you? It's beautiful cinematography, great acting. And then she's taking him to the island. And a great cast. I'm not that keen on Frank, to be honest. But you know, I suppose he's fine. He's a bit too. I suppose he's supposed to look, you know, unhealthy, and there's always at death's door, but a bit too unhealthy. But never mind. Why didn't Davil go back to brother and say they're all dead and Clara killed Savella? They could say that, couldn't they? Because they could say I got away by the skin of my teeth, and they've disappeared again. I don't know. Maybe he loves her. I don't know. From the moment he gave her that pearl, he was doomed. But maybe he loves her. Maybe it's like an unrequited love that'll go on forever. Like that old man at the beginning that were in love with his brother's wife. Maybe it's a throwback to that, you know, a callback. I don't know. But I love it. It's an amazing film. You should watch it and ignore all the nonsense that I've just said, because, like I said, I've not done it justice. It's a proper great film. And like I say, it's got everything. It's got great acting. It's got great drama. Just the right amount of gore. Some decent action in it, you know, stunts and stuff. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. Well, if they were all dead, it wouldn't have to worry about anything. They could go back to her. Well, I suppose so. I suppose. But that's not what happened. Maybe he will do that. I don't know. But you get the impression he's going off with her. They're going off as a team. But anyway. I will check that. Yes, give it a go. It's a really good film. I think it says they're going off together. Let me just check again and make sure. If I wasn't the one to find you, they certainly would have killed you. So they're saying, yeah, that they'll still be after her with their pointed nails of justice. But now he's going to help her, I suppose. And they're going off together. He knows all their, you know, methods, I suppose, doesn't he? So to help her stay one step ahead of the Brotherhood. So the Byzantium 2. Clara's Revenge. Should do, shouldn't they? Anyway, we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. Right. Get rid of that now. Right, so we'll leave it there. What's coming up next? I don't actually know. I can't remember. Monday. Sunday's my news stream. Monday. This week's Magnificent Mondays is... I'm going to reach round. Is District 9. Cool film from Neil Blomkamp. His directorial debut. Starring Sharlto Copley in his breakout role. Yeah. About aliens, you know, landing in Johannesburg, South Africa. Pardon me. And all the stuff that happens there. So it's a cool film. That's Magnificent Mondays on Monday. I haven't decided what next week's Friday Night Appointment with Fear is yet. Have a look. Shall we do this? Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. It's the top of the pile. But meanwhile, I could definitely see someone doing that sequel in complete girl boss mode. The simp devil. Yes, they could. They could. Anyway, I think next week for Appointment with Fear, we're going to do this one. The Innkeepers. A ghost story. And a cool one from Ty West. So I think we're doing that next week. Yeah. Just doing that. That's next week's Appointment with Fear. I would watch it. The girl boss that Byzantium 2 Clara's Revenge. But anyway, so next week we're doing the Innkeepers. I've just decided live on air. Whatever. Right, we'll leave it there. And Joshua likes that one as well. It is a good movie. With a nice ending that I didn't even know until I watched it with the director's commentary, and they mention it in the director's commentary. I'll not say the very end of the film. We'll see if next week we'll see if anybody notices it when we get right to the end. But I didn't notice it. I had to watch the director's commentary when they mention it. But anyway, you see something at the very end. That's all I'm gonna say. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks, Joshua. We've got all the Joshes, haven't we, again? Josh Temple, Joshua Kanapke, and Win Grace. I don't think we had an Archmage Frey, did we, this week? No, I can't see his name there. The mysterious man from Twitch. Better make sure we've know the messages on Rumble. So I keep forgetting to check that. No, we haven't. And nothing on Twitch either, right? So we can go now. So yes, have a great evening, Josh Temple. So thank you. Yeah, he forgot. Dear. Never mind. Right, so we'll leave it there. I'm gonna go now, and so I can get the cat out of my chair. She's claimed my chair there that I sit in to watch telly. She's curled up in it, though she doesn't care. She's sulking a bit today with me because it's drops day. She's had a flea drops. So she's not my friend. But she'll take my chair. Anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Don't have nightmares. And until next time, by the way, I didn't do a special intro. I've started doing, special intros for each Appointment with Fear, haven't I? And I forgot this week. I'll try and remember next week for the Innkeepers. But anyway, don't have nightmares. And until next time, I'll say the...